Hello, and how are you? Today we are out here. This is called Eugenia Art Center. Yeah? These guys have such a wonderful environment. It's so beautiful and executive. I mean, if you want to reconnect with nature, if you want to, sense again the beauty of nature and reconnect with your roots and meditate and think and even work, these guys have a very good place. Anyway, we are here today to do a show, and I'm very excited because finally we are beginning to converse about things that matter. We are beginning to talk about the integrity of us as people, as a nation, of us as a group, and how we conduct our affairs. Today we did a talk with KCA University with men, and today we are doing another sitting with men, especially leaders now from that university. And we want to discuss about where we are going as a group, where we are going as men, where we are going as youth. And I picked a sample of their student leaders because I'd like us to delve deep and see how it is being communicated. When we were coming up, we suffered the corruption of those who are ahead of us, those who squandered money for hospitals, money for facilities. We lacked boreholes that were supposed to be dug in schools. We felt the pinch of theft of public funds. Money that was meant to bring water, to bring school fees, food to schools was squandered. Land was grabbed. We watched. None of us today cannot say they felt the anger of something being stolen that was meant for them. One person would steal something that was meant to benefit thousands of children. And like that, they go away with it. They change titles. The other day we had a quarrel of university land being taken away. And the VC did something that we have not heard in this generation. Resigned. He said, I would rather resign than facilitate such a thing. We felt the pinch of theft, of corruption. Why do we then take it over? Why are we still perpetuating what we suffered from? We saw many people who money was disbursed to pay for their school fees. Somebody else ate it. Today they are nowhere. People are denied the chance to make anything of their life. Mothers who died in hospitals because somebody ate the money for the hospital. We saw COVID time that money for oxygen facilities and money for things that were supposed to sustain life. Somebody ate it, takes it, goes and builds their own. We had cases where people are stealing money, carrying it in sacks. They are caught. Others come up and build something quickly. They build because they need to hide the cash somewhere. They build something. If we suffered so much and it angered us so much, why are we taking it up? If we felt the culture of looting and how angry we were at it, we elect leaders, they got to eat all the money. They splash money. I hear somewhere in South Seas, in one of our estates there's an MCA who is campaigning for second term, and he's using huge billboards that cost hundreds of thousands. Where did he get all that money? Because he was there in the first term. So people are advertising stealing, as if that's the idea of going to government. And you hear people saying, I can't wait to go there, man. We go steal there, man. So I picked a group of boys, and I don't mean women are not involved. We just have fewer forums where men can talk, and we said, let's seize this one. And because the perpetration of the corrupt culture and lack of integrity started way back, and we have had men presidents, bishops are men, church leaders are men, for the large part that is. I want us to talk what is happening. And to facilitate this conversation, I brought a group of young men, and we came out here the way boys and men would go out and converse outside their home compound or just a stone throw away. This culture used to be there. Can we talk again? Shall we continue to bury Job? It was Job in the book of Job. It asks, will you continue the old way which evil men have trodden? Job 22. And they were cut off before their time. Shall we continue the evil way of stealing, greed, insensitivity, lack of conscience? When shall this stop? Imagine, to this day, people are stealing land meant for students, for learning, for hospitals. To this day, you know something that was stolen, and when you remember it, you feel angry. You, who has not felt the pain of a principal eating the money for school, and then classes can't be built, classes are leaking, there's no food, there are no books, workers are striking. Who has not felt the pinch? And I want to compliment a group in Makueni, Machako, someplace. One of the thieves went and built a school and is trying to launch it. In the launching, they showed up. They were aware that this thief, who was a politician, had taken the tender, had corrupted and gotten the tender for paying the cleaners of the town. And for 6 months, they had not paid them. So they asked him, excuse us, you're asking us to bring children to your school, while our colleagues cannot take their children to school because you are not paying them for 6 months. And because of public action, he was forced to act. Did you know when we talk, it scares the thieves. Why are we quiet? What are we doing? Where shall our children find if public land is being encroached? Roads. I used to study in Lower Kabete, and if you move from Westlands, that road all the way to Lower Kabete, you will find that the road is so narrow. People have encroached, stolen, and these are huge houses. People with the positions. Today we are trying to talk about integrity. Where are we? When are we going to start an integrity movement and have people who can be counted on? Today we came out to talk about that. So follow me. Thank you. Hello, and how are you? As I just told you, today we are doing a sit down with men. We're talking about this generation where we are going and what we want. And I got you some of the finest men, some of the finest young men who are in our universities, who are graduating from KCA University. And I want to bring you their president. Then these guys will tell us who they are, what they stand for. We did a talk with them some other day. The other day, talking about bargaining our destinies, A lot of people have not been informed that actually their destiny is up for bargain. They live like it's written, Whatever God wants, no. God wrote it, but do you want it? He opened the door. If you don't walk in, it will never become anything. So we're doing this conversation in hopes that we start something in you. To stop sitting passively and being sucked into a rotten system of selfishness, insensitivity, corruption. And although people say, I don't know what percent Christian, 80% Christian, you can't find 10% who live like Christians, who can be trusted with the money, who can be trusted with the money for the dying, food for the poor, medicine for the sick. We are in a time of, the level of greed and lack of character among leaders, among us men, because every man is a leader at home where he is. Just sometimes you're given titles, positions, and all that. But today we want to discuss about men. So welcome, Charles. And these guys will tell us who they are and their positions, but thank you guys for agreeing to come. And I want you to introduce yourself as the president, and you can tell these guys briefly why we are here from a student's point of view.
Thank you very much, Benjamin.
Most welcome.
My name is Charles Musyoka Masavi. I'm a Bachelor of Commerce student at KCA University. Also a certified public accountant, CPA, student finalist. I'm also a certified forensic investigative accountant, certified by O'Sullivan Consultancies. And finally, I'm the student president, KCA University. University of Business and Technology in Kenya and East Africa.
Very good. I took interest with that certified. You have really studied a lot, and your titles sound like you're old. We are used to those titles from professors, isn't it?
Sure.
A very long introduction of their academic credentials. But what has driven you to get all that when you're this young? Those are 3 areas I've heard you mention about.
Is the willingness to read and where I come from. You know.
Where do you come from, man?
I come from Machakos County, Masinga constituency.
You're right.
That's where I come from.
Yeah.
You know, it has been referred many years.
Yeah.
Cumberland is a arid and semi-arid area.
You're right.
And when I hear people talking about that, and I know well the solution to that is having water in our areas, I read more and study more so that I can gain the manpower later to do that. Yes.
That's noble, man. You're thinking of what is needed back at home.
Yes.
So, certified forensics and investigative accounting. Tell me about forensics and investigation. What is it with accounting?
You see, in accounting, we deal with accounting itself is the word from accounts. Then we have the verb accounting.
You're right.
Which is a process.
You're right.
And accounting means a process you have to analyze.
You're right.
You work on that information provided. You interpret.
You're right.
And then you present.
You're right.
So in the process of doing all that, in accounting, this is where the point of fraud came in.
Oh, yeah.
So you must investigate. Are these people what they are representing at their VAT? Is it right? Is it what they are declaring to the KRA?
You're right.
Is it really what their invoices? Do they conform with what they have represented in their books of account?
You're right.
Are their banks reconciled?
You're right.
Are their books up to date? Have they followed the general principles of accounting? Have they applied double keeping, equation? Have they applied those principles, all of them in accounting?
You're right.
Materiality, going concern, and thereafter, after that, you can give your opinion as an accountant or as an auditor on whether your business is going concern or not.
Wow. What is going concern, man?
Going concern is being able to going concern is one of the principles of accounting whereby you find your business or whatever you are undertaking is able to generate future benefits. Simple as that.
All right.
Yes.
Profitable, whether it has, I mean, it's being run the right way, things like
running
that.
the right way, but the aspect of profitable,
All right.
but then we don't take profitable as a measure of going concern.
Okay.
Because you can be making profit at the same time your business is not going concern. You can be making profit and let your liquidities level are down.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, you can be making profit through loans which you have not paid.
You are right.
So simply, your business, we can't measure your going concern on that aspect because you have a debt somewhere to clear.
You're right.
With that
So
profit.
going concern is totality.
Yes, it's totality.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's totality.
So, wow, man. So you have a passion in that investigative aspect, auditing aspect, forensics aspect.
Yes.
You have a passion there.
Yes.
And
I have a passion because that's why I even told you earlier. I'm currently taking a criminal investigation and interrogation course on the same.
That's a fourth thing you're studying, man.
Yes, professional.
You called it what? Criminal?
Criminal interrogation.
Interrogation, huh?
Yes, and process course.
And how old are you again, if you don't mind telling us?
I'm 24. I'm 24.
Because those credentials, we used to hear them with people with beards and professors. You know, professors. Boy, I like that. And you're saying you're not just studying for the titles, you are doing the knowledge
Yes, I want
to
the
make
knowledge.
change.
To make change.
Very good.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Let's hear from the next guy. Tell us your name and what you're studying.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Lelinka Ezekiel Oloitiptip.
Lelinka Ezekiel Oloitipti.
Oloitipti.
I like that.
Yeah, I'm a student at KCA University.
Yes.
4th-year student taking Bachelor of Education Arts.
Yes.
Mathematics and Business Studies.
Very good.
Apart from that, I'm also a student leader. The student spokesperson, as they call it.
Wow.
As Secretary General.
Wow.
KCA University.
Oh, you're the SecGen.
Yes, I'm the SecGen.
I like that, man.
Sure.
Wow. So you've said you're studying what?
Bachelor of Education Arts, Mathematics and Business.
Mathematics and Business.
Yes.
You know, remember something I told you about the course of teaching.
Yeah.
It's a very good course. It has produced presidents.
Sure.
We had Mwalimu Nyerere, we had our Moi here. And because of passion for children, many people go there with that hunger to teach and change lives. But I challenged you with another person. Is there another person teaching? Yes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I was telling you something I learned about these degrees that are very fundamental to our society. You should not confine yourself to the classroom. You're also a teacher to society.
Sure.
You're also a role model. And the one thing you need is a teacher which they don't give you is money.
And you're right, because we don't usually go to class.
Yeah.
Especially to study what you want to do in future.
Exactly.
It is a foundation.
That's
Whatever we're doing in class is a foundation.
That's right.
And when I speak about mathematics, I'm so much passionate about mathematics because of the person I look forward to. Though he's late, Professor Jose Choti.
Yes.
He is one of the people who actually empowered and inspired me.
You're right.
To do mathematics.
Wow.
I think he was the first person to say 0 is a number. and when he passed away, it actually hit me. And I'm like, I think I need to be the second Saitoti.
Wow.
And that's why he went for mathematics.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm so much passionate about mathematics.
So actually 0 is a number.
It is. It is. It is a number.
And it varies in value according to positioning.
Yeah. Somebody else will tell you 0 is a natural number. Somebody else will tell you it's not a natural number. It is what you call a real number.
Okay.
There are differences.
You are right.
Yeah.
So the one thing I'm picking from you and what I was saying is this. If you are trained, teachers are in community schools are everywhere.
Sure.
As opposed to these other careers, hospitals or lawyering, they're concentrated in towns. Schools are everywhere. So you find that in the village, the teacher is the most influential person to tell them who to vote.
Exactly.
The most influential person to bring money down. So who will you find in every village? Is the police, is the teacher. Those are the most people who penetrate. So that's one sense in which I want you to teach community. Don't just teach your class. But another sense I want you to do is to defy the system. Stop accepting the small position they give you. Then they're allocating you duties. Sometimes teachers work around the clock. They wake up at 4 because they have a class at 5. They're getting back at home 9 p.m. They have papers to mark. The life of a teacher, many of the us are still seen teachers. They're the most, people labor the most. But because it's a glorious career of shaping lives, but the system doesn't reward you according to how much you're putting in, you must then think outside the box. Now, get other streams of income. Use what they're giving you only a seed. Have agricultural projects going on.
Sure.
Have other things going on to give you the money to teach a larger group. And when you can eject yourself upwards, it's okay to fire yourself upwards. And let another get that. You go become a bigger thing there. Moi did it, Mwalimu Nyerere did it. And guys, I want to encourage you, don't study teaching and don't confine yourself to classroom. Our system don't reward. In the West, police are paid very well, teachers are paid very well to be able to carry their noble work without oppression. But today, if you just live by what they pay you in our system, in that world, in Africa, you find you're doing a very noble work, but you're paid very poorly. So you live so you have to get a loan to buy a tank. Imagine a tank to put water. Unless you're one of the seniors, maybe principal, which takes you many years to get there. I've always said, any job that is very noble, you love it. You want to change lives. You don't want to quit it. But they don't reward it. Compensate by expanding yourself.
Sure.
See what you can do more. See what you can do further. And don't always wait for the queue, for the government to employ. Sometimes they take 5 years to employ you. Those 5 years, don't be around here just trying to survive waiting. As a teacher, that's a noble career. Many people go there because of security of tenure. Not everybody goes there because of calling. Others go there because they have never thought of the course they wanted. And because teaching is famous among the parents, the aunties, the uncles, the general advisors, some of whom have never seen university, but they know teachers do get a government work, so they just push you there. You will find people in teaching who just didn't invest any energy knowing, but it looks like a safer landing.
But there is a caution,
Yes.
even in the Bible,
Yes.
about teaching.
You're right.
I think in James chapter 3 verse 1,
You're right.
it says that remember that teaching, let's all not be masters
You're right.
or teachers.
You're right.
Because they will be the most they receive the most condemnation.
That's right.
So it's something you should, as a person, be so conscious about it.
You're right.
Unless you are called for,
You're
unless
right.
you have that passion of teaching, is
Very
when
good.
you go for it. Otherwise, you are calling a lot of condemnation into your life.
That's true.
And teaching goes beyond being in a classroom.
That's right.
Teaching goes beyond, just as you say, that you teach the society, you teach the children, you teach the community, and those other things.
You're right.
Teaching itself goes beyond that.
You're right.
You know, if you are a pastor, you're a teacher.
You're right.
If you are a pilot today, you're still a teacher.
You're right.
I'm sure you've been in a plane,
Yeah.
and somebody is saying, "Good morning, ladies and gentlemen."
You're right.
That's a teacher.
You're right.
Why? He's telling you where we're heading,
Correct.
where we are,
You're
and
right.
those sort of things. So teaching, let's not just have one perspective or looking into teaching.
You're right. That's true.
Yeah, so it's a foundation of actually doing all this and that.
That's right. I like it.
Yeah.
And that's to say, so that's very good. And how far are you when you'll be finishing?
I'll be finishing in November
All right.
this year.
So if some guys want a good mathematics teacher, mathematics and what?
Mathematics and business studies.
Business studies. Also banks work with that combination sometimes.
Yeah, and I've actually gone ahead and also enrolled a business course.
Oh,
Yeah, so I'm doing a diploma in business management.
I love that. So
Yeah.
which business will you be managing?
It's not necessarily about managing the business.
Okay.
It's just about expounding your knowledge. You know,
I like
knowledge
that.
is power.
And then one thing, it may end up showing you what else you can do on top of what you're doing.
Yeah, sure.
You may land in a place, because sometimes by staying in a class that is discussing business, you develop the consciousness, the opportunity sensitivity. You may land in a place and realize they're importing tomatoes from too far.
Sure.
And there's water here, I can do ABCD.
And
Do you
then
realize there are 5 schools here, how many tomatoes do they need? And you do your calculation, you supply them.
Exactly.
Because you did that diploma, it gave you that conscience. I brought that deliberately to say, don't wait until you have a business to manage, to study business. In fact, I wish they made it compulsory for all of us to be taught something
Sure.
about business. Lastly, the last comment about business is to say this. Everybody must become a business person to become a millionaire. Nobody pays you enough to make you a millionaire. That's not how the world operates.
Sure. Sure.
They only pay you enough to keep you with them to make them millionaires. The idea of employment is you to hold up another fella.
Sure.
As he builds his dream. And he pays you enough compensation according to the market bargain. They are not unfair. They are giving you up to put into work, but they're also hoping that you have the thinking to learn and expand. So how do you become a business person even when you're not creative? Not everybody has the gifting for business. Not everybody should go start a company. Not everybody should start their own trading. We are not all cut out for that. But you should either own a business or own a share of a business. So you go run the company if you have the gift for it, or buy the shares from fellas who have the gift and continue your work. So make sure you own a portion of business, whether you run it or not.
Or not.
Okay.
And there's a point you mentioned about that maybe the business courses should be compulsory.
Yes.
I think the system, the current curriculum, the
Yes.
CBC one, I think 2 days ago we were launching a CTLE launch in KCA University.
Yes.
This is a curriculum based on let's do it.
Very
Practically.
good. Very good.
Not the theory part.
You're right.
So I think when you look at the CBC or these things that promote the do, let's do it.
You're right.
I think it is speaking more of what you're saying.
Exactly.
That let's not wait until we have something. Is
You're
when
right.
you want to study. Like we are now digitalized.
You're
This
right.
is when you want to go and study a computer. Who told you that?
You're right. You're
So
right.
I think we should embrace the do thing before things get on.
And you know one thing I liked about CBC is they are merchandising everything they're teaching.
Yeah, sure.
So they show the kid how to clean well. Show the kid how to just teaching.
Teaching.
We never thought boys should teach. That doesn't sound masculine. Why would you tell me to make a... No, they're making the boys make chapatis, baking. So I like that approach. And as you teach, remember, you teach not a good teacher does not teach from the book but from their heart.
Yeah, exactly.
What is from the book, after some years you master it. You can teach off head if it's your thing. Usually you have taught it 5-7 years. Every new edition you almost foresaw it coming.
You are confusing me. Did you do what you call ECT courses? Because what you are actually saying is basically what is happening in university classes.
You are right.
Because you should not only teach based on the syllabus.
You know,
it should come from within.
And you remember the creative and critical thinking. We used to question, who is a lecturer? Why would you study to regurgitate, teach another, to learn it, to teach it, to learn it, to teach it, to learn it, to teach it? What is the purpose of what we are teaching already?
You need some creativity.
Is it only circulating inside the learning institution? So they were telling us, don't be one-dimensional. Because some of the knowledge is in the market. It will never be in the books. Before they put it in the books, it has been used by the practitioners for long. They'll tell you this is the technique we do in the market. So they said, have a way to be trading what you are teaching, to give it relevance and current, up to day. What they taught you about the drugs that time, before you graduated, some of the drugs were phased out. Others are being tried. Others are being this. Some herbs have come up. Guys are planting it there. If you are also hands-on, you'll advise clients and tell them, apart from this, we also have this one being developed. You can check it's very good. All right. So that's very good. Let's go to the next guy. Guy with a very good voice. Yeah, please introduce yourself.
Hey everyone. My name is Hemston Omamo.
Hemston Omamo.
Of course, the other name is Otieno.
Otieno, okay. Of course. Notice the of course. Yes.
But I'm Hemston Omamo. I'm a student at KCA University. I'm doing, of course, Bachelor of Commerce, marketing option. You know.
Do you plan to market things like airlines?
Yeah. Actually, you know, I always say that I use my voice for 3 things: prophesying, impact, and transformation.
So prophesying, impact and transformation. Okay.
Prophets are carriers of good hope.
Wow.
So
you're not a prophet of doom?
Yeah, I'm not a prophet of doom. I believe so. Okay. And then, of course, you know, impact, you know, talking about now influence.
You're right.
That now when you've been given influence, when you're wielding influence, then you have to influence in a positive manner.
You're right.
And then transforming. Transforming means you're picking something that doesn't see a good end at that time.
You're right.
But you're making it to become better and better and better to attain its zenith.
Wow.
So I ultimately those, I think, 3 things that my voice stands for.
You're right.
Marketing, because I'm a communicator. I love to communicate, and ultimately I think marketers should be more of communicators, more than even staying behind the desks.
You're right.
That we are not looking at the profit per se, but we are looking at the relationship that can actually retain the customer. Because when the customer is retained, then the profit now becomes a guarantee.
You're right.
But if you are not a good communicator, or you don't know how to handle, or what I call customer relationships, then you have lost it.
Wow.
So to me, that is why marketing will always stand out for me as a part and a very, very critical, indispensable part of business. It is very important that we get that. So I'm a class rep. Of course, I'm also a part in club. I play part in clubs leadership in my school as well. I'm the chair of KCA University peer counseling you know, group. And yeah, just creating platforms. And
are you starting KCA radio? No, this guy should start something. Voice class. I mean, please make sure, even in your own, maybe Facebook or YouTube. If I were you, I'll get an off air. You read something for us, and I wanted these guys to see how you give it taste. Because it's an article we had written about what's wrong with men, and perhaps later you read it for us. What's wrong with men, and then let this guy read for us. While he's reading, it took another energy. It's pleasant now to listen. It's entertaining. His articulation is like the chef may cook well, but the way they present it,
you know, matters.
So you presented the message in a manner that made it appealing. And I was hoping that young men like you, Johnson Mwakazi was studying to be a teacher, and then somebody encountered his voice when they were acting. Someone said, "I wanted to be a teacher." He said, "Come show." Then he was taken to media, and he found a better outlet for his gift. If you want to know where you are called, check your goods, check what you are carrying. God gave you a toolbox for a particular assignment. The reason He did not give you everything because you would have run away without Him. He is telling you one step at a time to keep you here. He's showing you where to step next, so that you can walk by believing Him, not by what you can see. Because if you go about, you can see people tell you, there's this amount of money, there's this, there's this, and then you go where there is selfish benefit, not where there is what you are called to release.
Yeah.
So, guys, let me remind you, whether you're doing BCom or whatever, do your best in that BCom, do your best in that degree. But remember, our third world is scrambled. Our systems don't refine gifts. You have to invest in creating yourself, in discovering what you are. Don't let that degree become a degree, a limitation. Let it be only a stepping ground to see the world. A guy quoted and said, climb the mountain, not so that the world may see you, but so that you may see the world. You know, go up there, not so that you may plant a flag. I was here 2020. Don't go there to plant a flag. Go there to get a fresh perspective of the world, a breeze, and to challenge yourself. What there is more. In fact, after you ascend one mountain, it shows you other mountains. You get to see other mountains. After you finish one degree, you see other degrees. The guy is giving you the degrees, has 5 of them, is a PhD. You come to, okay, so I'm the smallest in this cohort. You're humbled. But the time you are the graduate in the village, you were working with. So when you ascend the mountain of graduation, when you ascend the first degree, don't go there to show for the world to see you. Go there so that you may see the world. Other people. The gown they give you in the graduation is the least in the category. When you look at the guy with masters and PhD, even something more elaborate. You guys are graduated like a group. Okay, BCom class of 2023. But the guy doing PhD has a procession first, and full names and history read and family presented, because they're graduating at the pinnacle. It's called a terminal degree. I've been to PhD class, so I know the names. They call it a terminal degree. And one person was warning us: if you are married and your partner is not studying what you're studying, is not at this level, make sure as you learn, you engage them in discussions. If you stay 1 month in a PhD class without talking any depth conversation with your partner, a rift begins to grow because we are stretching you. And we are not stretching them. They may be busy with life somewhere. But we begin to ask you questions like, can an African be Christian? One of my lecturers asked me that, and I thought he insulted. Do you mean I'm not? I am African. And they leave it there with you. How can an African, being an African is more religious, there are a lot of beliefs and culture so infusing in your system. How then will you put God on top of all that, my friend? So, I battled with it until I arrived at a conclusion. I would not have arrived if I had not struggled with it. You know, Jacob wrestled with an angel until morning. He was dislocated somewhere and transformed and given another name. Sometimes you struggle with the concepts. Even now in your class you have a question, you are still hustling. You are still struggling to crack. You know? So the answer, one thing she helped me understand is she said, a lot of your culture is religious. You should not pick what connects you with other idols and gods. You should pick what gives you identity and rooting. But when it comes to who you are, pick what is true, what is, I am the way, the way, the truth and life is one path. There are not many paths to truth. There may be other pioneer routes, purporting to take you somewhere. But it's only one way. So use this degree only to ascend you to a place. Don't stick to BCom when you're such a good voice and they can only use it peripherally. And yet an airline somewhere, an airport somewhere, a radio somewhere, a book reading, audio book reading company somewhere. You know, there's a place you could have penetrated. Don't stick on the, no, you see, I started BCom, no, I'm open. This was only a starting point. It taught me how to talk to the world. I'm open. You know, you have seen people like Julie Gishuru, they start with the law, they go to the screens to read the news. This one start here, go there. So keep going, man. Keep going and only use the degree as a permission. I give you the power to read and write. Anything, read and write. Anything. Very good. Thank you, my brother. So the next guy.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
My name is Godfrey Belt. I'm a student representative at KCA University.
Oh, you are Godfrey Belt? Student rep?
Yeah. I'm doing bachelor's degree in education.
Okay.
But I'm doing early childhood education.
Oh.
I've also enrolled for a German class in Goethe Institute. And I also intend to enroll for a sign language in University of Nairobi.
Wow. Right now you're doing a degree in early childhood.
Yes.
All right. You love children? Or
Yeah.
what will you be working with?
Yeah, I'll be, when you mention actually CBC,
Yes.
you're talking about me.
Wow.
I want to, they always, based on what I learned, they always say a character of a child develops when they are 7 years old. So if we can mentor these children at their young age, that means we can raise a generation that, will keep empowering people, a generation that will be stable, also, as I said, I'm enrolling for sign language and at University of Nairobi.
I love that. So you're saying you'd like to work with children and your character foundations are set by 7 years.
Yeah.
Man, that's new. Because sometimes we neglect them. They're just picked by buses. What is happening by the rangers? Being picked, dropped. Picked, dropped. And we see them as small people.
Yeah.
And we only is about take a bath, eat, sleep, routine. And you are saying we should concentrate on what we want the grown-up to become, work on it by that age.
Yeah.
Wow. The values you want them to have. I love, and CBC, for those who are not from Kenya, is competency-based curriculum. We needed that from the word go. What else, if this is competency-based, what was the other one based?
It was just 844 system.
8 minus 4 minus 4. Somebody said 0 system. So but I think it was employment based.
It was a teacher. Actually, it's a teacher-centered thing.
It was more of theory, whereby we were not practicing it, but we were first learning it at a level of theoretical.
Actually, what CBC does, they integrate students, they learn by doing it.
Learn by doing, that's right.
They learn by doing it. And also, I'm passionate about children.
You're right.
If we can mentor a generation at their young age,
You're right.
a responsible men
You're right.
who will know which direction or which path to take,
That's right.
then we'll, as a country, will be firm.
That's right.
One thing I like also, we have kids who are they are not able to get that parenting from their mother
You're
and
right.
father. But we as teachers now, we can take that responsibility. We can go beyond our profession and what we do to extend the same to those children.
You're right.
And surely we'll raise a generation of great people.
I like that.
Yeah.
I love that, man. And I hope one of us who appreciate teachers will come up with a way of appreciating them directly. What he's saying is true. Some of us were influenced by a teacher and who changed our direction for good, for the better.
Yeah.
Those teachers, what do we do? Because I usually have a few in a school who have a heart. Others just have a job. This one have a heart. We should reach a point where we come together and say, let's remember our teachers. You bequeath them something, some token. Imagine all of a sudden when you're a teacher, some students say, you did us very well, and we have given you something, you can buy an asset to remember us. You feel more motivated to do that more. So you're reminding me that how we were shaped in nursery school, kindergarten, here's our point. That's 7 years. If you recall back, some things that you believed that time, you still live by them today. So thank you so much, Godfrey. You also have a passion in sign language.
Yeah.
To be able to do what we did.
Okay, I want to teach all children in wide aspect, those with disabilities.
Oh, man.
And also I'm doing Germany to base my services internationally.
Wow.
I don't only want to teach Africa, Kenya.
Right,
I also want to extend my services worldwide.
I like
and
that.
if there is anything I can do, to mentor these young children,
You're right.
to grow into responsible adults,
You're
then
right.
that's what I'm passionate about. Mentoring, empowerment and transforming lives.
I love that, man.
Yeah.
And all the best, man.
Thank you.
Let's have our brother here.
Yes, hi.
Yeah. Hi.
My name is Kaimenyi Samuel. Kaimenyi the second.
Kaimenyi the second, I like that.
Yes. I'm a student leader at KCA University.
Okay.
Special interest secretary. I'm also
What
founder-
secretary?
Special interest secretary.
Special interest. Which
Yes.
interests are those?
It is a very wide docket.
Okay.
We have the international students.
Oh, yeah.
We have the student living with disability.
I see. All right, all right. Okay.
I'm also chairing the committee of all the clubs and interfaith-based groups at the campus.
All right.
I'm also the founder and current acting chairman of Reclaiming Our Roots Kenya. It's
Calling what?
Reclaiming Our Roots Kenya. We call
Reclaiming
ourselves
Our
Road
Roots
Kenya.
Kenya. You're right.
Yes.
You're right.
So Reclaiming Our Roots Kenya, it's basically an organization of young people from Kenya and specifically Meru County. Where we come from, there is issues of drug and substance abuse.
A lot of it, man.
Yeah. And mostly school dropouts and early teenage pregnancies.
That's right, man.
So that's one of the things we champion and really train and do workshops to at least show them there is hope and there is also another chance for their goals.
If somebody is in Meru or some place and they want to, they can search on Facebook, Reclaiming Our
If
Roots
you-
Kenya.
Yes, if you search on Facebook, ROR or Reclaiming Our Roots Kenya, you'll just find there and
Perfect.
you'll see our activities there.
And your passion, you are saying, is you have seen people wasting in drugs and teenage pregnancy.
Yeah, apart from that, me as a person,
Yes.
I stand for change impacting life
Yes.
and giving hope.
You're right.
So these people, what they mostly need, it's a platform where they can find a safe space to express themselves.
You're right.
And also sometimes express themselves without being judged.
You're right.
Because if someone comes to you today and tells you I'm battling this addiction,
You're right.
you'll advise him from the perspective of you what you know.
That's
not
right.
from the perspective from
Yeah.
what he or she may be passing through.
You're right.
So as we create that safe space for them to express themselves without judgment.
I love that.
Yeah, and also I stand for integrity and honest leadership.
And because I'm coming to that,
Yeah.
I want now to go to the second part of our conversation. You can pass the mic to Charles. These guys, one reason I picked them is because they live by integrity, and I found that value very precious, Charles. And I want you to tell us, how did you guys arrive at that motto? All you want is integrity. And you gave me a few stories of how you saw previously guys are leaving university, and when they are going for county jobs or government jobs or big companies or whatever, they're looking for chances to steal, and they even offered extended opportunities to you. So tell us, how did you guys come up with that, and what did you observe among other colleagues?
Thank you, Benjamin. One thing I would like to say about leadership is when you are being elected to a position of a leadership, you are very different from a person who has been appointed to that position.
Oh, you're right.
Because in leadership there is appointment and there is being elected
You're right.
through mass voting
You're right.
by people who believe in you
You're right.
and who believe in what you say.
That's right.
Now, in my own perspective, I have not read this from any book
Correct.
or from anyone.
You're right.
As a leader, I have discovered that leadership, according to me, is divided in two parts. We have the transformative leadership and the leadership which is written on which way,
You're right.
whereby you get in an office and you'll find your roles already written to do.
You're right.
Then now from that point is where integrity chips in.
You're right.
In transformative leadership, also it is divided in two. Find that there is the part of integrity and there is the part of willingness to serve.
Willingness to
Now
serve.
the willingness to serve in leadership, that is just hardware.
You're right.
Because everyone can be willing to serve.
You're right.
And you can serve without integrity. In
That's
fact,
true.
and that is what is happening in our country to say.
You're right.
And again, you will find that there is the software for transformative leadership, which is basically integrity. Integrity is defined by some of the scholars as doing what is right at the right time, being honest, doing the right thing.
You're right.
But according to me, it's just doing what is supposed to be done. Because everything to do with integrity is written in our Bible.
You're
You don't
right.
need to go far.
You're right.
We just need to visit our New Testament. Gospel of Luke, you find everything written there.
You're right.
That's why even when some people in Bible they try to challenge Jesus with some questions, he always told them,
You're right.
it is written.
You're right. You're right.
So the ignorance of human beings and the failure to read, it leads us to deteriorate the integrity
You're right.
aspect of life.
You're
Because if you have the information, you can have the information and you are not informed. Why? It is already written, but
You're
you
right.
have not read to understand
That's right.
at the same time.
That's right.
So you find that I am very passionate about leadership because my leadership started at church. That's why I focus more on integrity. At church, how? At 10 years old, I was appointed to be a Sunday school teacher.
Sunday school teacher, okay.
Yes. I and my sister
Okay.
we were Sunday school teachers.
But weren't you also Sunday school members?
Yes, we were members. We were members. We started being from members. You become a member.
You're right.
After being a member,
Yeah.
you become a teacher.
A teacher, you're
You
right.
can't become a teacher without being a member.
You're right.
So you start there.
You're right.
Now, after being a Sunday school teacher, within a few years, I was able to go in higher position of becoming the chairperson of our church. The chairperson of Pontifical Missionary Childhood.
Pontifical. Oh, okay.
Missionary Childhood. That is
You're
what
right,
is,
you're right.
that came with Pope Francis.
Okay.
Whereby we end a theme for a whole year, and whereby every Sunday school child was known to be called a little friend of Jesus Christ.
Wow.
So that is where my leadership started. And
Alright.
then, after that, I became animator. Animator, Sunday school teacher, it is during that time when they going to church very early in the morning during Sunday day, it was called a Sunday school.
You're right.
Now it changed to Pontifical Missionary Childhood.
You're right.
So after that, we became animator. I became also the vice chairperson of our parish, serving there at church. Immediately, I went to high school. I became the deputy head boy at Form 2.
Wow.
After that, I became the house captain.
Wow.
And I also became the chairperson of the Catholic Association in our university, or in our high school.
You're right.
So that's where my leadership has been.
You're right.
Immediately, I got in university. First year, I familiarized myself with the people,
Yeah.
and then friends.
Yeah.
2019, 25th November, I became the academic secretary.
Oh.
And then after that, I served well, being academic secretary for 2 years. Then last year, on 2021, I became the president on 25th of October.
You're right.
So, that aside, what I value more in leadership is applying the qualities and values that I have learned throughout my journey of leadership to touch lives of people.
You're right.
And when I see stars out of my crowds and those people whom I lead, I'm just happy because we applied what is good.
You're right.
And what is good for all of us, not self-centered
That's right.
aspect of leadership. So to me, integrity is very key,
Very key,
in
yeah.
any leadership. And now the reason why I want to talk about integrity is because in our university, the leader of our university, Vice Chancellor, Professor of Soil Science, Professor Isaiah Wakindiki, is a man whom you can't compromise his integrity.
Wow.
So how will you survive without applying now the value of the integrity in your leadership?
You're right.
And you are the student's president.
You're right.
So for you to work with some people well, you must also be a leader of integrity.
That's right.
So that's why we need integrity in our leadership. And if people, they can apply it on that, just, even before that, I came to read somewhere. Yesterday I read something. Because when I go to church, I have been hearing our clergymen say that all leadership comes from God. But no, that is untrue. If person can lead us, his ethnicity notwithstanding, and applying equity everywhere, then that is approved by God.
That's true.
But if you have a person in position of leadership, whereby his tribe comes first, his or a own selfish interest comes first, then there is no integrity. And that is how our leadership in our country has gone down.
That's
the
true.
needs.
That's very
And
true.
we need young men whom we can partner and build a leadership of integrity and transformative leadership. By the way, when I watch some debate of Dr. Minguna,
Yeah.
there are those aspects I pick from him.
Yeah.
When they were having a debate on Nairobi in Gamanatari opposition,
Yeah.
he said that the software for transformative leadership is integrity. I am not a manager. I will hire managers to put them in some places so that they can do the work of a manager. I'm a leader. And a visionary leader knows that the language of cannot be done, so that one should not be a language of a leader.
You're right.
Cannot be done should not be there.
You're right.
And if you know well and you have applied integrity somewhere, you
You're
know
right.
very well. Even if things get tough,
You're
at
right.
the end of the day, you will see the light at the end of the tunnel.
You're right.
Yes.
I love that. And to wrap this up, I'll be asking these guys one question to pass it to him. I want to. We have other students, leaders, and they're being compromised. They have they've been introduced to politics of university by bribes. You campaign by dishing out money. When you get the position, you want to recoup the money you spent and maybe make a fortune from student kitty. What would you say, and how come you guys are not squandering and making fake trips to Arusha? Generating a kitty for the poor, only to give them 10% and eat 90%. Meeting every Friday and giving yourself 5,000 sitting allowances. You know, how come you guys, I saw that you called me to come and do a talk to your school, and you went and lobbied to get me paid directly by the university. I did not see you guys trying to get a cut. Telling me, okay, so this is your pay, add this amount, in the receipt, you return the rest to us. You know, you go to places and you hear that kind of language. You know, every cell, everything they're acquiring for the university is a chance for them to eat. How come you guys are not living like that?
I'll first appreciate because you have acknowledged that our team led by Charles
Yes.
values integrity.
Exactly.
And I want to tie my answer to the value of integrity.
You're right.
I would again add and say integrity should be the opposite of greed.
You're right.
If you are greed, if you have greed as one of your values, the value of integrity is a zero.
You're
in
right.
your level. In KCA University, led by Professor Isaiah Wakindiki, is a man of integrity.
You're right.
And I'm compelled to say the whole system is now conforming to the value of integrity.
You're right.
Our office, we call it SACU office, that is Student Association of KCA University.
You're right.
Has that value of integrity.
You're right.
Before we got into office, we had to assess ourselves that who is Charles, who is Kaimenyi, who is the other. Does that person conform to whom I am?
You're right.
Or if I bring that person to my coalition, will it compromise the goal and the service I wanted for the students? There comes your question. That there is politics and politics. I will say most
Politics and
politics and politics.
tricks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
tricks. Tricks.
All right, all right.
When now you compromise integrity, politics comes in. Where you find somebody is being financed by cartels or by other people outside to get into positions. That is why you find those people who are financed to get those positions compromise their integrity in the offices. Why? I was financed maybe 0.5 million by somebody.
You're right.
And I have one calendar year, that is about 12 months, to get out of this office. What am I getting per month? Now, that is where now you will think of, I'm bringing Benjamin Zulu on main forums, for example, and I'm paying him X amount of money.
You're right.
So from the X amount of money is where I draw my equation. I
You're
usually talk with Charles because I talk a lot of mathematics. There is an equation that Y is equal to mx plus c.
You're right.
Now the X is the amount. Now I'll factor in the value of c to get my share. That's why if I'm paying you X amount of money, I'll want a minus somewhere and a plus to conform to the equation.
You're right.
And when you find a leader who got into office because of the interest of the people, because of the leadership skills he has, and want to show people the way, and that's what we are. So you will not find them compromising other issues like I open, for example, you say the kitty for the less fortunate.
You're right.
So you'll find them doing things that are contra. Somebody says, I'm taking, we're having a meeting. You'll actually find them having meetings which are not constitutional.
You're right.
And writing for them, sitting allowance and those are things.
You're right.
But if you find a leader with all the virtues of a leader, he or she will work according to the values and will not sabotage the resources for the other people. So my ad and call for all leaders, university leaders, is this. Before you go to office, there was that you. Before politics came and politics came into your mind, there was that you.
That's right.
Can you just transform the you to that leadership? When you talk about transformative leadership, there is the non-positional leadership, where I don't consider myself as the Secretary General of KCA University alone and have that title lobbying me all over.
You're right.
I should be more of a servant and look at there are students who have issues with paying the school fees.
You're right.
There are students who have issues with paying rent.
You're right.
How can I extend my service to them?
That's true.
Look at opportunities from all over, how to help those students. And don't involve now the issue of equation. What is my share at the end of the day?
That's true.
Just work, then the Lord will actually, at the end of the day, pay you.
I love that.
Yeah.
Pass the mic to him. I want to ask him, what have you learned from being in a setting where integrity is valued? Did you feel validated? There's a scripture I'm basing that on. It says that the righteous are bold as a lion. I noticed you guys are bold. If you had stolen, you wouldn't appear on camera talking about integrity, because somebody will comment down there and say, when I tried to supply you guys with biro pens, you asked me how much is there for me before I give you this tender.
Sure.
So if you had done tenderpreneur, so to speak, the corrupt deals of selling tenders, if you had colluded with some guys somewhere and somebody is watching, you are sitting here because you are bold, you guys. The righteous are bold as a lion, but the wicked run when nobody is pursuing. They live like they're hiding. They have many homes. Because ESCC and the investigators may close in on them. Because they imagine, who is that calling? Could somebody have found out something I did? People have not been told the cost of stealing. You live in fear all your life. And you don't even have the courage to pray. You can't even face God. You have no courage to talk about right dealings. You can't walk freely in the supermarket. Because somebody you swindled, even other gangs, other criminals are angry that you took that tender away from them. Colleague criminals, and they can kill you. You guys are so easy, confident. What have you learned from things that you're going to carry for your life?
Thank you, Benjamin. I think for me, I think just to add on whatever, even before I come to your question, there are 3 values I don't compromise on.
Okay.
Number 1 is godliness.
Okay.
I am born again, and everything we do, you must actually come to my level. When it comes to dealing with, when it comes to me coming to your level, the first, or when we get to that agreement, then I must have God at the question. So I do not compromise on godliness.
Yeah.
Number 2, I don't compromise on integrity. And then number 3, I don't compromise on honesty. Those are my values. And so I won't speak about godliness and honesty because for the sake of course, whatever we are discussing on, we are really basing on integrity. But all of them just work together. You cannot take one from another. And one thing that actually just coming out to your question, you see, integrity is contagious. Contagious in the sense that when I'm a person of integrity, then like whatever I'm just trying to say, that if values are there because they help you to be grounded, and then they help you to focus. If you don't come to my level, then you don't come just to my space. So it helps you, of course, also purge out your, your inner circle.
That's right.
That if you cannot come to my level, then you're not just my friend.
You are right.
So you either come to my level or sit. It is not pride.
That's
no.
true. That's
it is
true.
just coming. It is a set. You have to live. You have to live a life, because a life is a project.
That's true.
So when you are running your project as a project manager, you are a leader at the same level.
That's
so
true.
you have to actually have you have to be visionary.
That's right.
Like most of us, we are actually conquering. So coming to a space where people are full of integrity, number one would help you to actually just tap on the same. And I cannot overemphasize on the need for us to be integrity. And I would pick it even from whatever you have spoken, even in the next 1 minute. That you see, when you've mentioned about God, integrity to me is being a man of your word, or being a woman of your word. That whatever you are standing, or whatever comes from your mouth, and whatever you stand for are not conflicted.
That's right.
That when you say, I'm coming at this time, then you have to come at that time. Because also when you are dealing with God, or when you are praying, then this is the same mouth that is lying, and this is the same mouth that you're using to pray to God.
You're
I
right.
mean, God is never God of double standards.
You're right.
He will always work with you as long as also you are working with Him.
That's right.
Because He also says that we are gods. So listen, we have just to function in that manner.
I love that.
There is nothing about, there is no shortcuts. And if we're gonna get to a place where we wanna take our country to where we actually, even Vision 2030, this vision will always remain to be vision unless we put on guidelines down. And to me, values are very important.
I love
and
that
one of them, integrity. We must always not compromise on that.
I love that.
Yeah.
And as you pass the mic to him, I picked up something you said, that integrity means being one. And one declaration about God is our Lord God is one.
Yeah.
And the thing that greed and shortcuts has been marketed as the way to make money, but they have not been told that you need peace more than you need all this image and looking like you. Somebody is being paid 20,000, even if they were my son or my dad, and they show up in a 10 million vehicle, and I know their salary, and I know the bills they have, and they show up in a 10 million vehicle. Will I clap for them? I know they store somewhere, and from whoever they store, they're crying. From wherever they took that money, somebody has felt the pain. There's a God who sees. And what question I'm bringing to you, Godfrey, is that we were joking off air that your name contains God. Even if somebody does not want to say God,
He must say.
when we're talking about how to romanticize your names, when he gets a wife, and so how to twist your name to make it romantic. I don't know that they'll call you Godi. So it's also craft names. You need to think what is the romantic version of that. So I'm coming to when you talk about children, and he said, "Let children come to me," and that how we indoctrinate, and then we see children are seeing on TV that those who are seeing vulgarity, those who are praising, those who have no track record of fighting. That VC who resigned and said, I don't believe this is clean, I better leave this job. He may have left money, but what did he send out here? That it is possible to step down rather than let your record be tainted. That during your time, certain land was taken away under some excuses. And somebody said, I would rather die standing than live on my knees, having bent to corruption, having absorbed. Now that your passion is children down there, I want you to tell us, because we may think we are only student leaders, but to 7 years old, you are a grown-up. You are who they look at. For having become a president, a secretary who lives right, you have inspired a child down there. For having showed us how you are always a leader from church, there are other kids now who are leader down there. They're seeing, and the reason I do this show, we call it pre-25 show, people under 25, and how they can come up. Tell us how we can purge, do generational purging, so to speak. Right now we are trying to sanitize those who are already stealing. We are trying to ask them to stop looting. And their hands are already dirty. Some of them have already learned to live on loot. They've learned short money. They can't be satisfied on their 30,000 money. They look for the corrupt deals mid-month. They live above their means. It's about meat and drinking and alcohol and women. It's about cars they can't maintain. It's about holidays and taking photos when we know they could not have gone to Dubai if they lived on their salary that easily. It's about having a hotel, a multi-million hotel, when we know very well what you're paid can't sustain that. So children are seeing a person whose job we know it. This person is a PA to a particular government officer, and they own hotels, and children are seeing. Tell us about generational purging. This is, instead of just trying to stop the thieves, those already inside, can we raise a generation that are seeing, that decide early on, I want to have peace, I don't want to have fear, I don't want to be handed down, I don't want, there's a police, they were wrote on paper, is that the who's police officer, traffic officer, the payment is 20,000, but they confiscated 30 million worth hotels and vehicles from him that he has acquired within 2 years or something. Tell us a few things we can do to raise children who believe in integrity.
Thank you very much. Before I go to your question, they always say if we can serve with integrity and clear, as in we be clear in what we do, the small stages we possess and positions we own, then even God allows us to progress.
You're right.
But if at a student level I'm thinking about looting student funds, will God himself, give me opportunity to rise beyond student funds?
You're right.
Yeah, what we do now matters. Back to your question, Benjamin Zulu. Children grow up they also learn from the environment. They always say a crowd of lions headed by a sheep is not good.
You're right.
If we can raise children, we can mentor them at young levels. We tell them by doing this is wrong, by doing, engaging in certain things, they'll grow up knowing that doing certain things is wrong.
You're right.
But what we do, we leave children to explore by their own.
You're right.
When they grow up, for example, if you expose children to, the social media without your advice as a grown-up, as a leader, they watch, for example, a recent research, they said when a child is 10 years old, he or she has already witnessed almost 10,000 murders in television.
Wow.
What's the fate of that child? He will see that killing is now something normal.
You're right.
What we expose our children at young age really matters. And I really have this calling, let's raise a generation. As much as we want to fight and eradicate, the current problem we as youth are facing, let's also start from the beginning.
You're right.
A journey of 1,000 miles begin with a single step. If we can mentor these children at their young age and, teach them the code of leadership,
you're right,
the consequences they will face.
That's right.
When they make certain choices.
You're right.
We'll be good to go.
I love that.
God himself said, let children come to me.
That's true.
They have no opinion.
You're right.
Yeah. So every child is equal, but what we expose them to
is what determines what they become.
Yeah.
I love that. The last question to my brother Kaimenyi the second. I want you to tell us, you're coming from a very rich region,
Yes.
that the soil is very rich, but what they plant there is what kills men. The men plow it, and the men eat it, and it kills them. It dampens their energy. And as a result, we have had a mass waste of generations. Boys drive those vehicles like they are going to die. Suicidal manner of driving. Some TV journalists tried to document a documentary of Mira vehicles. They will say it was so hard to keep up. You just have to wait for them. We have to be many of us. One of us to wait there. Because you can't drive after them. You don't even know how they are navigating these bad roads. What would you say to the boys down there in Meru region? And Mira is a cash crop and everybody is growing it. Looks like eating it and being induced into it is normal. I can't see you chewing and you don't look like that's your lifestyle. Why don't you chew, and what would you tell boys down there?
Yeah, thank you so much for that. Sometimes, they say the same feathers fly together.
That's true.
So also, as a point of collection and also to educate you,
You're right.
Meru is big, Meru is large.
You're right.
We have about 8 to 9 constituencies in Meru County.
That's right.
And basically we have Mira in the most of Gembe parts. In Imenti North we don't have Mira.
Okay.
In Bore we don't have Mira. In South Imenti, Central Imenti we don't have Mira. So it's a regional cash crop, but we are proud of it as Marians.
Okay. So you're saying it's like how many counties out of the 8?
About 4.
Okay, okay.
Counties.
Okay.
No, constituencies.
Constituencies. Yes. Yeah, constituency.
Yeah.
So you're saying it's about half of them.
Yeah.
There's another whole half that does not have it.
Exactly.
I like that.
So another thing, Waswahili pia usema mtoto mleavyo
Divya Kwavi, you're right.
So you get from that place a kid at a very tender age, he or she ashajua mambo ya the Mira and what have you.
You're right.
Hands a lot of money when she or she is still young. And at a time, I tend to push the ball to the parents because as a person, I cannot like try to change or advise someone who is already my age mate and he or she has grown up knowing that this is the thing, this is the way to go.
You're right.
The thing is now shifting the ball to the guardians, the parents, when the kid is at a very tender age, because we have also the scholars and very big people from the same area. So what they can do as parents and as guardians is try to guide and mold these young ones at a very tender age to show them the way, like you should do this and this. Even if you're getting this more, you should also focus on education. It's
right.
good. And then to the other ones, my colleagues, my age mates who are already there, there is still that room for change. It's not too late. It's never too late until you try to change.
Wow.
So change is inevitable, change is possible.
I like
so
that.
they can at least transform and get something out of that.
Very good. Finally, do you have a girlfriend?
You know, it's a good question. Eh?
Yes.
She was there, but you know, the more I've grown now, I am more focused. It's kind of advice and actually with the mentorship and guidance I've got from various speakers.
You're right.
You included.
You're right.
Other men speakers out there.
You're
I
right.
came to realize what I want to focus on currently cannot conform to having someone else who is giving me or is dividing my attention.
You're right.
So currently, as I am under third floor, I want to focus more on myself and personal brand.
That floor, you
myself
mean
and
under that?
develop- Yeah.
Oh, the student language.
Yeah,
Yes.
develop and personal brand myself.
Develop and
Brand myself.
personally brand yourself.
Exactly.
How old are you now?
23rd.
How old was she?
2021.
Now, tell me about a 21-year-old being a girlfriend. What was the experience? Tell me, how was the experience?
You know. Okay, actually, I'm glad. I'm
Ezekiel
actually the
is
one.
hoping this question expires before it gets to him.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm the one actually speaking this on
Yes.
behalf of my colleagues.
Yes.
Because I'm a peer educator on the other side.
Okay.
And when we had a chance last month, but went to go to a nice school in Moranga County.
Yes. Yes.
And the question the youngsters are asking you, like they don't understand you're also part of that circle.
You're right. You're right.
But now the one you've sat and decided this is the path I want to go. By then, when I was there, I saw like this thing. It's it's okay. It's what I need, and I want this company. But there is that personal goals you have and personal principles that they want to use. In a way, I'm not sure they can conform to what the other person who is almost your age, same age you are. I don't think if you can.
That's
run in
true.
that. So to me, what struck me most is because what I'm seeing and what this other person is seeing is totally different, very different. Her thinking and my thinking, I don't think they were rhyming. Before I arrived at that, it's just we came to misunderstanding, and then the guidance and the teachings I came to realize out here in the arena now where men are being taught. People have come out now. These days, you guys are talking. these talks are helping so much.
Wow, thank you.
So congrats on that. And to me, actually, I'm a benefactor of that. And what I'm now aiming at, as I'm leading myself to a higher level, I'm also thinking and also very more passionate about trying to show someone who is behind me, a butchered somewhere. I want to hold more than 5 and bring and show them the way this is what you ought to follow also.
Do you know something you've hinted to as you pass the mic?
Yeah.
I know many experiences, even if you were to ask the same question, they will not divert very much. We all started thinking, is it time to start booking? I want it back to Mike, to Charles, so that we conclude, but you've said these talks help. There's a verse that says, come, let us reason together. When human beings construct things, they bring tractors and concrete and sand and ballast, they start constructing. When God constructs, he shows up and talks. He invites you to talk because his words create. And it says in Hebrews that he upholds everything by the word of his power. When you're in position of power as a person, you say something and the officer goes to implement it. You say something and it's written as law. You say something and but when God says something, nobody is needed to be there. What he says, that the word itself, let there be, it becomes itself. Why we need this kind of conversations? Because God instructed man, Adam, how to run things. Guys, something he has hinted, I want you to remember is this. The relationship itself may not be bad. Sometimes we are saying, but we like each other. We help each other, in fact, in thinking. In fact, we support each other emotionally. In fact, we think together. In fact, you can bring a lot of justifications for being 23 with a 19-year-old girlfriend. And one guy came my way at the tail end after 7 years of the relationship. They started when he was, I think, 20, the other one 19, now they are 25, 26, thereabout. And I said, I'm not about to read these paragraphs, because they write long, winding paragraphs of misunderstandings, this and that. And I say, what I want to warn you guys who are there, where he started, and I told them, you know, you have lost time, you never recover in this life. Sure. Something he has hinted and I want to warn you about. The relationship itself may not be toxic, but it divides your attention at a critical formation period of your life. Sure. Swallow that and carry it. You have the option of dividing your attention. Studying over here with a girl. Because of the sexual, emotional nature of relationships, they are consuming. You can't be halfway in. The moment you're telling each other, I love you, the fantasy of having sex with them, the fantasy of being in a room with them, and you close yourself in a room and time flies. You can't even rush to things. You could not have been free to come here, you guys, or to put your phones aside when you have a Kisirani girlfriend who is demanding of attention. When they are 20, they don't have patience. When they're not, before people mature, they don't have patience to know that you could be busy. They imagine you're with another girl. And here you are with men talking about conversations of life-changing things. And now you have to go and solve cases. When you have a girlfriend even in church, you keep the phone close. In case she calls, you tell God, no, I have to go. Another God is calling. So you stop singing to go to attend to your idol. You know, premature relationships are very difficult because people don't have patience, people don't have understanding. The relationship itself is very demanding because the person is replacing you with what they should be learning themselves to contain themselves. So my warning to amplify what you're saying, Kaimeni, is that he cannot say the girl was toxic. Sometimes she's a good girl. She may not even be a bad person. It's the season he is in. He said, I have goals, I want to give my all until I'm 30. That's my call. And this is not compulsory. Greatness is not for everyone. I'm hoping enough number misbehaves to become our clients. Why do doctors study infectious disease or even alcoholism rehabilitation? He is not hoping people take alcohol, but he knows human nature. They'll still take alcohol. He will tell people to take out of alcohol. So, the same way I'm hoping enough number of us obey to unleash our gifts. Those whom the devil could not disqualify, he dislocates. He could not stop you from being so gifted and a potential president, potential governor, potential admin of universities. And I was challenging Ezekiel to have a group of schools. You know, a group of schools from a native. Not these people who come here because it's all business and they don't have our values. They instill bad things to our kids. Start one school. Have a heart for the teacher. Other people focus on the student. You focus on the teacher. Because you are a teacher and you know their plight. You know, you focus on the teacher. You build the values into the teacher to transmit them to the student. Tell them I have 1,000 students, I'm only alone. But you guys are 100. Each of you can go to 10 students. Let me work on you. How about if he was to do 10 group of, but that period when he was supposed to concretize his values, move around and see Eugenia, see Benjamin, see gardens, see places. He was busy locked up with a girl. For 7 years, he was divided attention, divided. So he moved at a slower speed. He was absorbed to the market when he's mediocre. So he has to live a mediocre life. Many of those relationships don't go anywhere. And even if you force them, they struggle and struggle. So it consumes your determinant season and still dies. So today I've taken that direction. What if we are not conflicting, but it is still consuming your attention, your energy, the little money you have, the credit you must, the online you must be. And you can't process a book, you can't move to a place like this that was almost a conference and a lecture because you're busy with that, because you had a conflict with that, or because you must talk to her every hour. You are divided here. You can't even tell us an important point. You're angry that we are prolonged by 5 minutes. When you're told her you'll be calling in 20 minutes, you're already irritated with us. Because you're dictating your movements. You get an opportunity with your uncle to go and do an internship in Mombasa and exposure in Nakuru. You can't go because you'll have left her and she feels like you have abandoned her. She's dictating your movements. And you have to, every coin, sometimes you walk some distances because you put airtime on the money that you're supposed to pay Matatu and go somewhere. You put airtime to call her because... her birthday is coming up. You sell important, you sell your offer, you sell your laptop.
To surprise her.
Imagine, her phone was stolen, her phone cracked. Now you give her yours, you're using Kabambe which you borrowed, I don't know from who. So you can't access material, you can't access online. You know, because she has a cat, she did not know she has, you have to do yourself to her. You're running up and down the whole day to solve her messes. Because she's your girlfriend. If you divide your attention during this 18 to 24 critical definition period, and for men I tell them, let not stop at 24. Go all the way to 30. For girls it's 24. You go all the way to 30. The average marriage period of men in Kenya is 32. You're not late. Take your time, guys. You look outlandish. They will tell you, oh, so you are spirit, so you have a Joe. When you stand out, the rest of the people will always call you names. Don't worry. They will come later, say, how come? How did you reach here? They will point at you and say, we used to be in the same. They will see you having the last laugh. How? You marry consciously when the time is right, and you marry a woman on that level. Some of the girls you are seeing here, although they're very beautiful and all that, they are going nowhere. They're as confused as you. You are co-conspirators in wasting time. You also know you are mediocres, both of you. You're doing the wrong thing at the wrong time. You are stealing each other and you are aware of it. You end up pregnant and aborting. You have never thought of killing a child, but you find yourself killing a child because you're doing the wrong things. Some of you have so much destiny. The devil is hunting for where he can find you. The moment you approach Delilah, he has gotten you easily. He will shorten your career, you Samson. Although you are so mighty, you could uproot gates, you could kill 1,000 men. One woman came from the back, the weakness you never addressed, and brings you down. History goes down that your story was both winning and losing. Sadness, mixture. You know, Samson is in the book of Hebrews as a hero of faith. But we also know him as a great failure in another side. So far, guys, you have stories of success. So far, you have students. You have no scandals. Your leadership did not steal and get suspended and taken to court. We have seen student bodies who steal and engineer chaos and scam. You guys did not do that. You did not start a project with some company to supply geometrical sets, air, to supply figures that are there, and then you inflate them to get yourself a plot. Everybody to get out with a plot, with a car. Everybody, a girl somewhere. Everybody. That was not your aim, you guys. I remember one thing you told me. I would rather, as long as I can eat and cloth, I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied with the process. A time will come for the big life. I can't reach for the big life when I can't afford it now and steal from another person's life. He counted for me what it means. Tell us that encounter when you have a friend, or you said some guys you knew got chances in county, in some places. They're trying to get connections and inviting you. What was that about?
You know, thank you very much for this opportunity. You know, you find that when you become a president of a university, to me, I never knew if it was that a big position in this country.
Wow.
and position of interest during more so on electioneering period. And at this time you will get people via phone call. Some of them are just scammers, and you can know because immediately they call you. There is a way you can notice from your phone. It turns red and writes down there spam.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah, immediately you know this number is just bringing issues.
It has been
and because also
yes.
I have been silent for a long time. Let's talk. Let me hear what you can say now.
You're right.
You will get calls. You can get calls telling you, "Oh, I need 1,000 students, and that I'll be able to give you a job. You don't worry whom I am, and we are going to meet."
1,000 to do what?
We are going to meet.
Okay.
We will plan where we can meet. So get me 1,000 student, we do a rally. Get me a 500 student, we do a rally. This will be your package. And then one question which they were not able to answer is that during this process, you have told me you work at a certain county. Have you ever made a mistake? Then they will tell you no. If someone tells you they have never made a mistake, then that's a liar.
You're right.
You just know you are dealing with a liar. Then you just quit that
You're right.
talk.
You're right.
So that kind of offers, they will definitely tell you what is the purpose of your position.
That's true.
And how can your position be misused by others.
That's true.
And how you can be misused to get, you command a crowd in a university.
You're right.
There are those students, when you say A, they will follow A.
You're right.
Because they believe in you.
That's true.
When you tell them there is a deal somewhere, oh, let's go and you will get 1,000 bob. Of course, they will follow you blindly.
You're right.
They don't want to know where is the meeting,
You're right.
but they will follow you and go there. But at the end of the day, at this time, if you take students to rallies and they are given 500, in Kiswahili hizo ni unga mbili. Just
You're
4
right.
kgs of maize flour.
You're right.
What about the following day? What if they get injured there? Those rallies. What if you lose a life there? You see, you can't compare life with 500 shillings.
That's true.
And then it will go down in history. It is during Charles' time when we lost a student, when he had taken them to a rally somewhere.
You're right.
So those are the kind of things I factors most when people come to me and tell me we need this, and we need all that. And also the issue of integrity on our counties. You have seen how people behave. You have seen in our news. And I think social media can be running all this information daily so that somebody will never stand in front of people and seek a position to be elected.
You're right.
You have seen them buying a wheelbarrow at 8,000 shillings. Biro pen, which costs 20 bob, going for a 3,000. So you see, there are records of these days, and we can see.
You're right.
It is from that point you see that during you just check on a certain county, find that somebody somewhere they were supposed to get, and I think by the movement which was meant by the government is okay of monopolizing the supplying of medicine, so that they be gotten from KEMSA. But also it is also failing. You see, we need to sanitize everything
You're right.
all around.
That's
so
right.
you find that certain counties, somebody was supposed to supply medicine, they have not been supplied, and young children are dying at that county.
You're right.
So now what is that? Is that a call to a leadership? Is that how we are supposed to lead? No. But at the end of the day, you will see those people with V8, with a big machine, Germany machine.
You're right.
They are called German machine, enjoying their life. And it is because of pressure. Peer pressure is leading youth there. And as I said, personally, I have slept well. More than 5 hours.
You're right.
I didn't think, I might be followed by somebody. Why? Because I'm doing the right thing.
Exactly.
Yes, and I told my fellow youths, if you can eat, you can afford a suit, you can sleep well,
Exactly.
you can wear well, you can present yourself,
You're right.
and you can command your respect at some places,
That's right, man.
then why do you want to be that rich
Exactly.
at this young age?
Exactly.
There is a reason why God is delaying your victory on some of these earthly things.
That's right.
Because He knows very well, when I give you this is how you will end up being.
You're right.
So there is time for everything.
You're right.
Patience, humility, being humble in leadership. That is what has made the great leader. Look at the Malcolm X. They were killed because of their stand. Look, people like Patrice Lumumba. Why? At a point you will find that there is that what you stand for. It will make you to be distinct from others.
You're right.
In Kenya, we can cite those leaders. It is because of Tom Mboya we have professors in this country. He used to take them while there was a president that time who could not do that.
That's right.
But you see, in leadership, if you are not making stars around you, then you are failing.
That's true.
I am very happy because today, those who are in my council, they were class rep during my time as academic secretary. And I'll keep saying it because it is through that mentorship of class representative they have been able to rise up to the
You're right.
circle council in
You're
our
right.
university.
You're right.
And there is no bigger achievement other than that.
You're
When
right.
you see your people transforming at your level, you feel happy. You say that at least I am helping so and so to transform.
You're
Even
right.
if you are not giving them material things.
You're right.
When you share your wisdom and knowledge with them, that is okay and that is enough. So, this is what I was saying. As long as integrity is concerned, and as long as you believe in yourself and you believe in the values, these values, they will take you far. Because I have seen people, and you see, when I sit down with professors, we engage with them, and they tell me a word or two, it is very bad. For the following day, they find me making mistakes which we discussed yesterday.
Exactly.
So I won't be that is not being a
That's true.
leader. And again, things to do with corruption. It is only our country whereby social media will bring to us back and forth those people with integrity questions
Exactly.
everywhere. You see them on a national television. Even some of them, I am very sure they will be invited to talk about integrity, and then they have none.
You're right.
Showcase.
You're right.
They have. So you find that it is only in our media, social media. Instead of looking for a solution to solve a problem, they will only report about the problem.
Exactly.
We have great leaders in this country, but they have not been exposed to those opportunities. Why? Because those who are in those positions, they can't allow you
You're right.
to be there.
You're right.
That's why you have seen many great people. They first flee the country
That's
and come
true.
back as great men
You're right.
and women of integrity. Look at the most prominent professors. Look at them. They have not studied their master's degree, their PhDs in this country. Yet we have universities which are offering the same. Why? Because at a point they felt that I can't grow in this country.
That's
I
true.
need to go to grow, to get that masculine, and then I come back to make a change somewhere.
You're right.
So, if at all, at our generation, we can change and have people who have art of leadership. And I said earlier, willingness to serve is not enough.
You're right.
That is just hardware.
You're right.
You need the
Software.
and the software is integrity. Simple. And you will never find another name or another word defining integrity. And if it is there, I think honesty,
You're right.
humility,
You're right.
they
You're
should
right.
take the first chance.
You're right.
So, to me, leadership means a lot. It's changing life of people because there was a time in our country when people, they were not used to schools. They never gone to schools. Did we add scandals that time? You see, even the prominent leaders in our country, you will find them, they are associated with some issues.
You're right.
Which you don't know.
You're right.
But they will, the bodies which are supposed to tell us more about this, they will only expose these things when they go against the state.
You're right.
So you find that there is really a problem
You're right.
with our leadership, and we must fix it. And how can we fix it? You can't fix it somebody who is at that 5 years old.
You're right.
And you are at 24.
You're right.
In fact, he will tell you, you don't know what you are saying.
You're right.
And others, they will quote even Bible quotes and other quotes which support their stupidity.
That's true.
So that you conform.
That's right.
They will go and tell you, bird of feathers, they are being fed. And read the Bible. Where did they get this food? Did they go and prepare it? What and this is Bible saying that.
That's
God can
right.
feed the bird of feathers without going to the land and tilling the land.
That's right.
So they try to bring the corruption and corrupt your mind using quotes because they know you are not informed. Because if you could have read that verse as well, you could know that even the bird of the feathers, they know how to prepare good nests to store their food
You're right.
for some time.
That's
and
right.
they know how to deal with matters. Even that, this is where you find that I was told just the other day, in leadership we have only friction where there is corruption.
That's true.
That's where we have friction. Become a man of integrity, you
There'll be
rise.
smoothness,
You'll
exactly.
be like an eagle.
That's
you
true.
won't be competing with others here
That's true.
at this level.
That's true.
And if an eagle decides today I'm going to eat a snake, he's going to eat a snake.
And
Why? Because he is able to do so.
Exactly. There's something you said there which, as you wrap, I like. Because you're saying sometimes it's not the whole group that needs to change. Evil thrives when good people do nothing. If we have enough voices saying we will not grab lands of universities pretending for anything it was meant for universities should make, because university should be perpetually as long as existing as the country itself. You don't take fundamental institutions of the nation to private hands under any name, and just you're hiding the name of anything. And if we ourselves move and say this is our movement, you're not going to see primary school being grabbed. You're not going to see public roads being grabbed. You're not going to see, and you guys just, I want to tell you the truth, you can change this generation 5 as you are. Because you only need 20 people surrounding you. Many of you have quoted Isaiah Kindiki, have said that professor, I look up to the way he lives. Him alone, without being here, he has influenced this meeting.
Sure.
When you are to do like him, you like him, your impact will be felt. It took only one person in South Africa, Nelson Mandela, for the whole country to take a different direction. Guys, you are more than one. I'm here, you are there. Carry this as our slogan. We stand for character. We stand for integrity. We stand for being true. And one reward, we are at peace with ourselves and with our God and with our generation. And like Abraham Lincoln said, I want, when I finish the leadership and lay down these reins, I want to have one friend left. And that is my own conscience. I want to sleep at night and find my sleep. I don't want nightmares and gunshots in my sleep and arrests and fears. And I'm reading paper panicking, looking whether I'm being hunted and listening to, you can rest peacefully and move around like Nelson Mandela the late, moving around telling people, live right, you'll have a peaceful life. Life is all about, on this side of eternity, serve God. And you'll be said, I hope the epitaph, how they summarize our lives will be, when David had served the will of God in his generation, he rested with his fathers. One of the things that motivate me is that 4:18 Proverbs says that the path of the righteous, those people who live right, those who are not greedy, the path of the righteous is like the morning sun that shines ever brighter unto the perfect day. You may be taking slower, you guys, to jump to opulence and wealth because you have refused to steal. You may be taking slower, but your sun is shining ever brighter. It may be taking time, like an iron box. Hey, it may not be on like a bulb. You stole 10 million and suddenly your lifestyle has changed and moved to Rwanda, and we can't tell where you got it from. You don't join cartels. If you believe God and work hard diligently, forget these sayings of, it is about who you know. No, it's about what you know, who you are. The only person you need to know is God himself. And it is him who lifts, it's him who promotes, one who demotes. I want you guys to shine ever brighter unto the perfect day. What is the perfect day? The perfect day is when your life can be summarized as a man of his word. A man, an icon in his generation. Become icons in your generation. When we bury you, we will not say how many cars you drove. We will not say which lands. We will say how you treated people, how you helped Kenya, how you raised your children. And I want to tell you, those who are stealing cannot face their children and answer questions because they know they are living wrong. Guys, I want you to live right. Have time for your children. Go home to your wives that time when you're married. Take your time and live like men. So that, like Samuel changed the whole of Israel single-handedly. It says in 7:13 that from that time the hand of God was against the enemies of Israel all the days of Samuel. Samuel alone. He put a stone there and called it Ebenezer and dedicated it to God. His life was an altar, and he's moved in a circuit between his offices. He had offices in Mizpah, in Gilgal, he had about 4 offices. And he used to go in a circuit. In every place, he would do his work as a judge, his work. But because he lived with godliness, and at the end of his career, he said, have I taken anybody's donkey, anybody's child? Have I corrupted any man? Lift your hand. He told the whole country, lift your hand if I ever took. Can you do that at the close of your life? Live in a way that as you close, you can say, have I ever stole anything from you? One guy changed his life by saying, if I have stolen anybody from anything, I will refund 4 times. Let us live in such a way that by one person, called Kaimenyi, by one person, Godfrey, that Kenya itself, the atmosphere will be felt that you live right. It starts by character today. There's nothing to lose, guys. I wish you all the best. Work hard, master your craft, refuse stealing, refuse shortcuts, and God will make your day shine. What is a perfect day? When your life can be summarized as an example, and you move on to eternity with clean hands. We close there today, guys, and see you next time. Thank you so much.